Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Want to pop in. Got a question asking me about the three B's. Now, I believe I wrote about the three B's in my book, Mrs. Right, or it could have been in my book, Single is Not a Curse. Now, this kind of flows right in with what you want to be doing while you are single and in waiting. And this applies to men and women. But this is what I realized as a relationship coach, a life coach. I used to do a little bit of matchmaking, didn't publicize it or really market it like that. But here's something that I realized is we all are perfect in our own right. Everybody is beautiful in the sight of God. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But what I see most often is people play to their strengths. And so when you play to your strengths, you do what makes you feel comfortable. And then we avoid our weaknesses at all costs. So it's kind of like I went to the gym this morning. I'm in the mymentor.life headquarters right now. Make sure you visit mymentor.life. But before I came here, I went to the gym. And a lot of times when you go to the gym, what do? You work on your strongest body part. So if that's your arms, then you lift in arms. If your legs are strong, then you lift in legs. And when a trainer comes in, the trainer says, listen, okay, it looks like you've been skipping leg day, or it looks like you've been skipping arm day. We need to work that area. And they work that area to kind of help you find some balance. The same thing happens in our life. We go to, I talk to a lot of clients, and it may be a client who has really, really focused on their body. And body is tip top shape, pristine, everything is where it needs to be, body is perfect. But have not focused on their brand, haven't created something that he or she can't be fired from, in addition to having their job. Or some don't have a job, or some has something but isn't really developing it. The other part, haven't focused on the brain. So we always sometimes lack something. Me personally, I'm married, so I'm not looking, I'm not in waiting, but I struggle with the body, working on my body. And I may skip the gym, I may skip workouts because I'm just not motivated to work out. Now, genetically, I'm fortunate to have genetics that is not the end of the world, but I gotta be very mindful of my body. So let's go through this. The reason why I said brain, brand, and body, and I put body last, because there's a lot of issues that come around the body and people very sensitive about that. But when you think about brain, now this can encompass everything, even your faith, because when you are working on your faith, when you're developing your faith, you're feeding your mind. Your mind houses everything. A lot of times we differentiate, but your heart doesn't have a brain. So your heart, your spirit, your soul, your mind, it's all here. It's all in your mind. We just call it these different things, but it's all your mind. So when you focus on the brain, which is the mind, that is working on yourself in the area of your spirituality, your faith, your belief system. So you're reading the Holy Bible. I'll just use Christianity as an example. You're reading the Bible, you're feeding your spirit. So you're getting that knowledge on how you ought to be carrying yourself. In that, you're reading, you're studying, you're getting wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That faith has some rules that you live by, let's say like the commandments. So when you start to perfect your faith and you start to live a quote unquote righteous lifestyle, it will start to affect other areas of your life. You will start to produce more in other areas of your life when you're keeping these quote unquote bylaws of life, these principles of living. So when you learn to love others as you love yourself. That benefits your life. When you learn not to covet, that benefits your life. When you learn, let's say, not to backbite and gossip, that benefits your life. When you're not cheating, fornication, adultery, when you're not even lusting in your mind, in your heart, when you are not competing with people, but you're trying to help others as you're helping yourself, loving others as you love yourself. When you put all these pieces of the puzzle together, you're not worshiping money. You're not focused on money, the love of money. Sometimes people misquote the scripture because they've never read it, and they say money is the root of all evil, and it doesn't say that. It says the love of money. So you're not worshiping money. Money is a byproduct of your righteous lifestyle. It's a byproduct of you living with morals, values, and principles you're able to create and produce. So when you get to that place, you start to understand this. Now, that's all in the brain. The next thing with that, with feeding your mind, you're getting new knowledge. So when you can sit down and you say, look, every day I'm going to take out some time, an hour a day, 1 hour out of 24 hours. That's like less than 5%. Like 10% would be 2.4. So 5%, 1.2. So you giving 5% of your day to self-development, to growing your mind. And you may split that up. Depending on your schedule, you may have more time than that. But you may take and split this up, and you may say, okay, I'm going to read this book, or I'm going to watch this video, or I'm going to listen to this podcast, whatever it may be. And so you are feeding your mind. And when you do that in different areas, some may be relationship, self-development, self-love, but then you may be listening or reading in your career focus, whether that's marketing or what have you. This morning I was listening to an audio book by Malcolm Gladwell while I was working out. I'm listening to this audio book. I think it's about meeting strangers, and it's just telling these different stories and how we view people, how we perceive people, how to interact with people, how we read people. So I'm listening to it. I don't know what it's going to add to my life, but I know his book Outliers really blessed me. So I'm giving another book a shot. So every single day while I'm working out, I'm going through my day, I'm listening to an audio book or a podcast or a YouTube video. And if I hear one sentence, what you have to realize is when you're getting new knowledge, that's seeds being planted. So when you think about a seed, what does a seed do? It goes into the ground. When you water it, you take care of it, it produces. What it produces is always much greater than the seed. So if I'm listening to a video and I get one sentence, just one sentence, that's a seed that's going to produce something much greater, that's going to yield a harvest in my life. So that's the importance of feeding your mind. You got to do that. If you are not doing it, if you are not growing mentally, then you are dying. And so you have to be conscious about this, and you have to be deliberate about your growth, your personal development, your mental health, so that you're feeding yourself. And so as you're doing this, now you're able to add what you learn to your life, and it betters your life in every area that you're focusing on, that you're studying. So this may also be in conversation. It may be talking with a life coach or a consultant, mentor, whatever term you want to call it. They're almost interchangeable. But when you are investing in yourself in that way, when you make an investment, there is a return. So the next thing you realize is that by doing this, you're building yourself. You are investing in yourself. You're feeding yourself. So I want you to think about this as you are single, in waiting. This also applies when you're in a relationship. You still have to be growing. So this is what I mean by the brain when I'm talking about the 3 B's. Now, as you realize, I'm shooting this video. I don't have a note card or a PowerPoint that I'm looking at or going through. I kind of flow. And so the 3 B's was in my state of flow as I was writing the book and trying to encompass everything in our life. Of course, there's going to be some outlying things that you may have to put in another category so you can add something to it. But most things you'll be able to fit it somewhere in one of these 3 B's: brain, brand, and body. And so that brain, that's your control center. That's everything. That's when you're building your relationships, your friendships. That's when you spending time with your family. That's your control center. That's all of your health, mental health, spiritual health, emotional health. That's where you focus at there, and you have something that you're doing something. So for example, I'll go home and I'll put my phone down and I'll just play with my sons. I'll talk with my sons about their day, really build with them. That's benefiting me. When they go to bed, then I'm spending quality time with my wife. That's benefiting me. Guess what? If I didn't do that and all I did was work, I would be empty. I would have a void. So in this area, you fill up all these things. So I'll spend time with the Lord, and in prayer or in reading, or I'm listening to the Bible on audio. So I'm spending time feeding my spirit man. And then I'm spending time listening to an audio book. So I'm feeding my mind, my knowledge. And then I'm spending time with friends, family, and that is feeding me also spiritually, emotionally. So focus on those areas. And I believe it's in Single is Not a Curse. I talk about the F's. Maybe it was 5 F's, and you have to get the book, forgive me. But I talk about faith, family, finances, friends, and there's one more F. You get a cookie if you could come up with that other F. I can't remember what it is though. Maybe fitness. Maybe it was fitness. And so I talk about focusing on these different areas. And this is how you have to break your life down in order to advance your life. And that's where so many people go wrong. You just focus on your strengths and you forget about your weak areas. Now, next, when I talk about brand, now brand could be, you could break it down. So if, let's say you have a career, you're in a career, and when I say career, what I mean really is you have a job that you can be fired. So you're not an entrepreneur. So your brand, if you're happy in that job and that's what you want to do, then your brand would still be developing yourself. So we see doctors, we see publicists, we see HR professionals. We see these people still become authors. We see these people as experts on television, on talk shows, coming in to be the expert in residence. So just because you have a corporate job doesn't mean you don't have a brand. But you also, on that corporate job, you want to climb the ladder. You want to be paid more money. So still, by feeding your brain, you are developing your personal brand. By taking another certification, another class, getting new skills. See, if you want to be paid more, then you got to be able to add value. And so in order to add value, you have to add knowledge. And so going to a seminar, a conference, a retreat, and still feeding yourself, that is building your brand. But here's the key. What I tell everybody, it's great. You know, I'm in the office of the company that I created. So I can't be fired from my own company, but I still have to develop the company and build the company, and so that the company has legs. Now, I don't have to get it to where I have 1 million coaches, but just enough to, even if I just have enough coaches on my mentor.life to help service my 3 million followers online, then, and if those clients also want to become coaches, they take a coach certification and then they can join the site to help others. So I have to focus on building my brand and developing my brand. The same goes for you. Now, what I did is I was working for somebody else and I'm working 40 hours a week for them, but guess what? At any day, they could fire me. So in the side of the brand, I had to say, okay, what are my natural gifts? Now, I can't do a whole video. I could do a whole video on this, but I'm not going to do that. So you can visit TonyGaskinsAcademy.com, which again is something that I created from my skill set, from my knowledge, from my passions, from my heart. That is something that I cannot be fired from. So Tony Gaskins Academy, it costs me money to shoot the courses, and it costs me money to house those courses on the web. So, but I'm able to earn from there because I'm teaching something that I may know that you may not know, and you're able to benefit from that. You have knowledge that you can teach that not everyone has. Even if this knowledge is you mastering your position in the corporate world, there's thousands of other people who have your same job who may not be as good at it as you. So if you take and write a book on that, and the title is like a keyword that people will actually Google, and then you could even boost that book, you can market that book online. Now, even in your corporate job, you've created something that will help other people be better at their corporate job, but you cannot be fired from your book that you've created. And you don't know if one day somebody gets it and they have a mailing list of 100,000 people and they send it out and it sells 10,000, 20,000 copies. And you make more in a day or a month than you make in a year on your job. But you've also just created something that will bring in passive income, meaning you do the work one time and you're paid for it over and over and over. So I probably have written 15 plus books, 15 to 17 books, and the 18th getting ready to come out in April. Well, guess what? That's my knowledge and wisdom and understanding on paper. I'm not a guru. I don't know everything, but I know what I know. And what I know, someone else may not know because we walk two different paths in life. So guess what? Those books will produce passive income. And every book is like owning a house. It's like real estate, except for this is intellectual property that is real estate. And guess what? With this book, I don't have to fix the roof. I don't have to fix the AC. I don't have to pay to take a tenant to court. So it actually becomes better than real estate, than my real estate investments. And so, yes, I have a real estate investment company and I'm in that space and pursuing that space. But I realize me just using my mind, I'm able to produce books and courses that produce it once and I don't have to manage it anymore. And so that's what I mean by your brand. What is in your gifts? I created a course called Entrepreneurship with Purpose. Because if you notice one thing about me, everything I do is about purpose. So like when you come on YouTube, it may be, somebody may have a channel that's, teaching you how to sew, teaching you how to sew. And if sewing is therapeutic and it's helping you manage your stress, it's helping you cool down, then guess what? That lesson is purposeful. But if it's something like, let's say somebody playing video games, if that video game is a distraction and is taking you away from what you need to be focusing on, then that's not purpose-based. So purpose-based entrepreneurship is doing something or creating something that is helping make someone else's life better. So that's why I made the course Entrepreneurship with Purpose, because it's important to me that what I do to earn a living is purposeful. I don't want to sell something that's not going to make your life better, but it's just something to sell. So this is what you have to think about in your brand. And I have a lot of clients now that's coming to me and hiring me not for relationships, but for personal branding, to identify their gifts and to build their brand, build their business. And it's a lot of fun. And one thing I've realized is that every single person has something inside of them that they could be earning a living from, or if not a living, at least supplemental income. And so I want you to think about that and understand that when you think about branding, create something that you cannot be fired from. I know bloggers who were in college or who were working, and they said, hey, I want to take and I want to start blogging about celebrity stuff, celebrity gossip. Now that's not purposeful work, because it's not making anybody's life better, and it could actually hurt the celebrity's life, but it's something that is created that they can't be fired from. And these bloggers, you see these bloggers, you see the gossip sites that these founders of these sites make. The ones, once they hit, they're making $250,000, 250,000 into the millions, like up to $10 million a year from blogging. Some blogging celebrity gossip, some blogging about fashion, some lifestyle blogging, which kind of covers a lot of stuff, and then going from blogging to vlogging, meaning on YouTube, shooting videos, going through their life and making hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. And so I say that to say that is something they cannot be fired from. And although the industry may change, because they figured out how to use it, social media and the internet, they'll be able to adapt to the industry, and there'll always be a way to earn a living from your brand. So understand that you have to identify your gifts. And when you are living life, especially if you're single and waiting, identify your gifts. Then you can identify your passions, and then you can see if you can marry the two. If you can marry your gifts with your passions. So a gift for me is writing. Not necessarily perfect grammar, but being able to convey my thoughts on paper without getting writer's block. So my last book that you read, Make It Work, I wrote it. It's a 300-page book. I wrote it in 6 days. So if I can write a 300-page book in 6 days and it actually blesses someone's life, that means writing is a gift. So that is a gift. But it's also a passion. I really like writing. So guess what? I can marry my gift, which is writing, with my passion, which is writing, and then identify a career path, which is being an author or a blogger. I'm also a ghostwriter. I'm also an author consultant. So now just from one gift, I'm able to create 4, 5, 6 streams of income, things that I can do. But inside of one of those things, like writing books, you're able to create countless streams of income, because I could write 100 books. So I say that to say, if I wanted to, I could write a book a week, and I could produce 52 books a week if I wanted to. So 10 years, I would have 520 books. If I am living to see that, I could be eating off of that and then pass it down to my children and my children's children. You see what I'm saying? So it's something inside of you. But see, not only doing it, but then teaching it. The reason why I teach it, and the reason why I created TonyGaskinsAcademy.com, because I came to the place and I said, look, I'm working hard, but I want to be able to earn while I'm sleeping. So I created TonyGaskinsAcademy.com because I do the work one time, and then I'm able to help tens of thousands of people, and they may buy it. The courses sell at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I'm sound asleep, but someone is up and burning the midnight oil and they're pursuing their dreams. Or someone is in another part of the world pursuing their dreams, and they said, look, okay, you're a step ahead of me, so you've seen some things, you've learned some things that I need to know, so let me invest in myself and also invest in you by taking this course, the Birth Your Book course, the How to Become a Speaker course, the Entrepreneurship with Purpose course. So that's why I created TonyGaskinsAcademy.com. And the reason why is because when I got started, I was looking up and I said, okay, who's doing what I want to do? And I'm trying to identify these people. And I found Zig Ziglar, I found Jim Rohn, I found Les Brown, I found, all these different individuals. None of them had a online video course that was marketed, that was readily available. They had books, but I don't necessarily like to read. I like to listen versus reading. They had podcasts and they had YouTube videos, so I consumed all of that. But it wasn't very practical that I could really just put one foot in front of the other. So I filled the void with my academy for those who would come after me. And that's how I want you to think when you're thinking about branding. And if you learn it one time, if you don't know it, that's why there are consultants to teach you what you don't know. Getting on YouTube, I wrote YouTubers who do one-on-one sessions, and I'm paying money to learn how to use YouTube. So I take their knowledge, I use it, but I also learn things for myself. So therefore, now I'm going to create a YouTube course based on the things that I've learned for the people who support me and want to share their wisdom and knowledge on YouTube, for other coaches and speakers and authors who want to start YouTube and build YouTube. I don't know everything. I don't have a whole lot of subscribers, but what I do have is more than zero. So guess what? The person with zero can learn something from me, especially if he or she is an author or a life coach or what have you. So this is what I mean. This is how you gotta think. So I want you to understand. I'm on here and I'm doing these videos and I be free flowing and having fun with you at the same time, trying to enlighten you on some things. But I run businesses because I work full time for myself and I gotta take care of my family, and I want them to have the absolute best that Earth has to offer. So I don't try to shortcut. I'm really trying to build business. And so think about that. And then lastly, your body. Now it's two sides to the body, and I'm gonna try to hurry up. I'm getting up here on these here. Now this is painful. It's hard for me to talk about because people get so sensitive about the body. And I noticed even when I met my wife, my mom, when my mom had me and then she had my sister, I think when my dad got with her, she told her she was like 105 or 115. And she's the type of person that she real, happy-go-lucky. She have a lot of fun. Like she's not sensitive. So now, after she had us, she started to put on that baby weight, and then she kept it on and kept piling on top of it. And so she got to be voluptuous. You hear me? There's some other words that she may use or people may use, but she was like, okay, it is what it is. She kind of joke about it. I never ever saw her depressed about it. And she was reading a scripture out the Bible that says something, the wisdom of the Lord fatteneth the bones, or spirit of the Lord fatteneth the bones, or something. She would laugh about it. And so my dad, sometimes he would joke around with her, like she sat on his thigh. I remember one time she sat on his leg, and he said, girl, get off my leg. You about to break my leg. And she bust out laughing. So when I met my wife, I wanted to have that same type of, relationship and be able to joke about whatever. And I kind of said something similar to that one time. Did not apply to my wife really, and she got offended. And she was really, and I was like, oh, whoa, okay, so you can't say nothing about a woman body, which always confused me when women ask the question, do I look big in this? Do I look this in this? And it's like, um, oh no, absolutely not, and it throw me off. So I realized it's a sensitive topic. But this is what you have to realize. Your body is your temple. It don't mean it has to be perfect. But what it means is that you got to take care of it. So on the workout side of things, you got the workout side of things, then you got the lying down with other human side of things. So on the workout side of things, you have to be doing something. You got to be being active. And let's say you can't be active. If you can't be active at that time, let's say you had a surgery, or you just scheduling or what have you, then you need to be eating right. And a lot of times what we do is we eat out of guilt, we eat out of stress, we eat out of frustration, worry. We eat for all these different reasons. And I heard, I was listening to Zig Ziglar, and he said he was like 260 pounds or something like that. And he wrote a book, and he said that he was like 150 or 160 or something in the book. And he was like, man, this book's getting ready to come out and I want to tour with it. So he was like, I had to get this weight off. So he said he started just like a lap or half a mile, and then a mile, and then a little more, and a little more, and a little more. And before you know it, he had went from like 260 to like 150 or whatever it was, lost like 100 pounds and looked completely, totally different. And he said, one thing I learned is that I've never eaten anything by accident. And I was like, wow, that's deep. That's deep. Never eaten anything by accident. And so I was like, man. So that started to hit me, and I think about that because I come from a place where you eat what you have to eat and you try to make it the best you can. So we grew up eating chitlins, all kind of swine, eating all kind of fried food, fried pork chops. It just tasted better than grill or whatever. So fried pork chops, fried chicken. You might have fried chicken and grits for breakfast. You might have, fried chicken for lunch, or fried pork chop for dinner. When you get your little money, then you just eating fast food all the time. So for me, even growing up, it was like pizza Monday, McDonald's Tuesday, Burger King Wednesday. My mom, she worked 40 hours a week, and that was her reasoning for not cooking. So, and then if it wasn't that, you eating a bologna sandwich. Like, what is bologna? Spam sandwich. What is spam? All this different stuff and processed foods, and it's just ruining your body. So I watched my whole family, like my dad's siblings, I don't think any of them made it past 70. And majority of them have died before the age of 65. And now everybody has diabetes. Everybody's on medication or shots, and it's all because of a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding how the body works. So when you got poor schooling and you're not being taught, you don't take science class, and you don't know what the body is doing with the sugars and all the carbs and all the salt that you're consuming, you're just consuming it because it tastes good. It tastes good because it's a little flavorful and you're stressed out, and so that salt and that sugar, it makes you feel better because of how it's interacting with your brain and what's going on in your body. But it's tearing you up and it's weighing you down, it's breaking you down. But if you don't understand scientifically what the liver does, what the heart does, and that's what I started to realize as I was growing. I was like, they never talked to us about in school where I went what soda does. If you drink soda, 5 Cokes a day, they never told us what it does. They might talk about sugar or whatever, but tell us about what is this oily, greasy food doing inside of my body. They never told us that. And so you just doing what feels good. and you feeding yourself based on your stress, your worry, your pain, just your desires, just to have some flavor on your tongue. And so guess what? It's adding to your body. And think about this. Let's think about it. Like, if you see someone and they 50 pounds overweight, you're gonna have a certain level of attraction to them. If they lose those 50 pounds, he or she is gonna look like a totally different person, and you're gonna have a whole nother level of attraction to them. So for one, just on the connection side, you have to take care of your body just for attractiveness. And then at the same time, which is even more important, is the health side. So if you want to be there for your spouse or for your children, you got to be feeding yourself the right way so that you can live a long and productive life. Because if you're not focused on that, you're not going to live a long and productive life. So think about this. Now, this all the food side. You can do all the research in the world. You can learn all about that. Also feeding the brain. Learn about how your body works and what you need to be optimal so that you can perform at the highest level with your body and what you're putting in your body. And it's a struggle. It is a struggle. I love me a little soda. Love me some processed food. Love just because that's how I was raised. My mama wasn't cooking, and she might cook once a week, once every 2 weeks, and that was spaghetti. Spaghetti with toast jelly bread. And so it wasn't like I was eating, vegetables and grilled chicken. And so that becomes a habit, and so it's one generation killing the next, and then you killing the next. And I seen, even in my household, we had to get it together because you're doing what's quick, you're doing what's easy. So my son allergic to everything. So he could basically just eat meat and vegetables. But if you don't take the time to cook grilled chicken and vegetables, then what you throwing in there? Some chicken nuggets out the bag that you heating up. And so we had to get it together and check ourselves and say, listen, all this processed food, all these hot dogs could end up causing a lot of damage. We got to do better. And I had to sit down with my wife and say, look, I know it's fast, I know it's easy, I know you weren't raised to be a cook and you weren't taught how to do this, and neither was I, but we're gonna have to make some changes for the longevity, for the health of our children. And for some people this common sense, but if this common sense, it doesn't mean that every other area of self-development is common sense. So you can't look at somebody and judge somebody because we do what we were taught. And that's what I've learned. I can't judge anybody who sins differently than me, or who lives different than me, because we just do what we were taught. Now, on the other side of that, y'all got to forget them sirens. You can hear them sirens. I'm downtown. On the other side of this, you have lying down with people. So now this affects your spirit, it affects your mind, but it also affects your body. So one part of this body, I further developed this later. In the beginning, I was just talking about working out and eating right, but later I started to realize one part of the body is who you give your body to. Now, who you give your body to also means your mouth. Your mouth. Because a lot of people say, oh, well, we're not having sex, but we do oral. And I'm like, that's worse, that's just as bad, if not worse. And I have to enlighten women and say, listen, if you doing oral, that's a man will let a $5 person on the street corner do that, but will not sleep with that person. So if he is not sleeping with you but letting you do that, he sees you even less than. So that ain't a compliment. That don't mean you doing better. So if you're gonna be in that kind of sin, that's just as bad. So when you are especially single and waiting, stop giving your body away. Don't give your mouth away. Don't give any entry or exit away for a feeling to please somebody. That's defiling the bed. It's defiling your spirit. It's breaking you down. It's creating soul ties. It's ruining you. Do not listen to me. Do not, under any circumstances, be giving your body away. Single, and if you married, then don't be in adultery. And as far as the mind and also your body, don't be feeding into too much lust. So you got to think about this. You got to think about this and be diligent about it. So when it comes to your body, make sure that you're eating right. Make sure that you're working out. I realize on the working out, it's no excuses. I just had my wife order me this mirror I saw. I was scrolling online on mymentor.life Instagram page, which follows on Instagram. It's My Mentor USA, like United States of America, USA, My Mentor USA. Follow me on Instagram. And I was on there and I saw this mirror, and it's a workout mirror. And it's like a mirror, it stand up and it connect to the internet, and you pay a monthly fee and you work out. And I told my wife, I said, baby, get that for me, order that for me, and put it in our gym at the house so that I could go in there and work out. In case I can't make it to the actual gym, I could go at home and get in front of this mirror and work out. And I guess what? If that mirror is not in the budget, if you don't want that mirror, if it don't make no sense to you, and I'm praying it don't become a clothes hanger for me, but you can just do body weight squats, you can do sit-ups, push-ups, whatever. You could jog in place. So understand that you could do something right at your house before you go to work, after work. You could do something to be working on your body. And then on the flip side of that is make sure that you're not giving your body away, that you're protecting your body, that you're saving your body, and that you put boundaries around your body so that you are doing the right thing with your body. Okay, see the helicopters. Hey, this is Tony Gaskin. Thank you so much for watching this. I wanted to drop this on you. Now realize this. With these videos, if you got to this point, put "be blessed" in the comments. I just want to see you hit the like button. Realize this. If I'm going to be doing these videos, 300 videos in a year, that's a whole lot of topics. So not every topic is going to be, sexy and tantalizing and juicy. But it's going to be these topics like this that could be boring, that you actually able to move your life forward. So just commit it to your self-work to watch a video, even if it's not mine. You interchange it with whoever you watching or listening to, just to feed your life. I got some events coming up. Make sure you check the links in the description. If you end up hiring a coach on My Mentor, let me know. Send me a message, put it in the comments. Let me know that you had a session. If a coach missed a session, remember I told you, just email them. It's new to a lot of these coaches, like getting clients. They got certified and didn't have a way to get clients, and that's why I created the site. So understand that, be mindful of that, and just reschedule instead of flying off the handle. Give me a refund. I need a refund right now. Because, everybody human and things happen. It is Tony Gaskin. God bless you. We'll talk soon. And hopefully the sound was okay in here today. Doing the best I can, so y'all bear with me. We'll talk soon.